Welcome to Soul, Light, and Body. How are you guys doing today? Hope you're doing well. Hope you continue to do your journaling. And guess what? We're winding down 2024. What are you really grateful for this evening? You know, and we have to give gratitude not only on Thanksgiving Day, but every day. We need to find that time to give gratitude. And if there are things that you have, for instance, let's look at in your home, you may have things that you're not using. You can donate it to a charity or give it to someone who can make uses of it. And also in your life, if there's a lot of clutter, this is the best time before you go into 2025. You need to declutter all of those self-limiting beliefs, those thoughts that is racing through your head every single day and making you not show up in the world fully. It's time for you to step back and really go within and re-examine your life because another year is passing. And what have you done? What have you done to enhance your life? So this is a good time for us to really do some self-reflection as we move forward into 2025. Write down, get a notebook, get a notepad, and just write. Write the way how you're feeling. Because writing is so important. Writing brings out the things that we really need to touch on. When you write and you look at it back, you can say to yourself, you know what? I really need to get rid of this thought. How am I going to do it? How am I going to address it? And then you start to take the steps that is necessary for you to get rid of these thoughts that is holding you back. This podcast this evening is very interesting because many of us is sitting on the sideline and we're studying how can we be an entrepreneur? How can we do business? So going into 2025, we want to prepare you. We want to prepare your mindset, how you can navigate, and the strategies that you can use, the tips that you can use. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, I really want to start a business, and how can I do it? Well, you're in the right place. Or if you know someone who can benefit from this podcast this evening, share us out to that individual because they're going to get some real good tips and some strategies how they can really navigate and be a successful business individual. And it's not just going into business just like that. There's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that have it. We would call it the components that really to make up going into it. It's exciting, but it's challenging at the same time. So you got to know all the little necessary ingredients that is going to help you to move forward on that level. You have to do your research. You got to do your planning. You got to get your financial aspect in order. You have to have the adaptability, innovation. You have to ready to pivot when you got to pivot to make shifts. It's so many things got to happen, and best of all, your self-care. Because when you're going through all of this, you really got to have, right? You really have to have a right mindset. Your mental have to be intact. So you have to come first before you really dive deep. So the self-care is super important. Time management. Because sometimes you might set a time and sometimes it don't work at that particular time. So you really got to know, as I said, how you're going to pivot. How you're going to pivot to really, let me revise these goals and let me see how I can really move forward from this point. Your goals and your objectives is super important as well because you have to have a mission statement. Where you want to head with this type of business that you want to start. So I'm not going to take up and give away more because we really want Beverly to really give us the secret sauce. So I'm going to leave the secret sauce to Beverly, and she's going to really enlighten and enrich us this evening how we can move forward. Or if you already start a business and you still need some guidelines, just sit back, have a pen, a paper, and you can take some notes this evening because Beverly's going to give us some real good tips and strategies how we can really navigate this business world. So I am Karen Pascal, holistic health and wellness coach and a co-author of two books with my sister, Joan, Self-Care is Intentional and Your Gut in You. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul Light and Body because you will never miss none of these informative discussion. It's to help you an individual moving forward, going into 2025 and beyond. So I will now toss the mic. Beverly, welcome. I will now toss the mic over to Joan. Joan, take the mic.
Wow. Great opening as
Thank you.
always. Where we are now, we are in December. We are moving through. How are you doing tonight? Are you sitting in your space and wondering, well, I would like to finish strong and I don't know how? Or I feel like I did not accomplish all the things that I started with or I thought about my resolution coming into 2024. I'm nowhere that. And you might be feeling down when you're feeling unaccomplished. No, stop, pause, celebrate your wins. You've worked hard to get there, regardless whatever phase it is you're in. Because each one of us move at our own pace. Somebody might be ahead of you. It's okay. You're taking your time, you're putting your effort in, and you're working to achieve your goal. Yeah, you may fall short a little bit because with everything that we do, there are challenges. They are setbacks sometimes. But the beauty is when we bounce back. The beauty is when we're determined. The beauty is when we take that courage. The beauty is when we find the level of strength. The beauty is when we are resilient and find the level of resiliency to really stand strong. You're stronger than you think. Remember that you're a star. Remember that you're unique. Remember that you're special and you're one of a kind. Remind yourself every day and lean into your inner wisdom. Lean into your inner wisdom. Have some form of spiritual practice so that that can anchor you, whatever that may be. Don't forget to be out in nature. It's a great inspirational source. Don't forget to do your grounding. Pause on a daily basis so that you can just kind of pull back a little bit from all the noise and really zoom in into your inner being. Get quiet, get still so that you can calm yourself down. What are your morning routine? Very essential. And your nightly routine. Are you detoxing from certain things? I know Karen spoke about clutter. How are you really navigating through life? Are you holding on to things that are not serving you well? Because those are the things that hinder you from making your next, to reach in, to turn the page, and to reach that new goal in front of you. Let go so that you can live and live strong. And are you nourishing and nurture yourself? Nourish yourself where you can eat good food, quality food, and then nurture the other areas of your life. Are you moving? Your physical activity, your joy, your creativity. Bring that side of you out. The world is waiting. Get excited about it. Are you practicing home cooking? A nice home cooked meal. You're doing all of that. Because in order to live life and live full. Walk in your power. You got to move in the level of alignment whereby you nourish and you nurture so that you can stay strong. So all the goals that you think about on a daily basis and the goals that you're trying to achieve, you got to be strong so you can live and enjoy that fully, full participation. And are you focusing on level of gratitude? Not only gratitude to people that serving you well and give you love as well, but are you focused on gratitude for yourself, for who you are? Love yourself. Show yourself grace, love, and compassion. Don't be hard on yourself. We're concluding 2024. Let's start now for 2025 to harness all those good qualities. So when we step into 25, we're good. We got clarity, we got our intentions, we got a great insight, we got right perspectives. How are we going to move? And as the topic tonight, entrepreneurship and how we can navigate through that. Beverly is going to give us all the tips. She's going to serve us well because she's special and she's amazing. She got all the goods to give us tonight. Sit back, relax. Because you might be thinking, oh, what I'm doing now, I want to try something new. I got my own niche that I want to work with and I want to launch into my own business. Beverly is going to help us to understand how you can be successful at what you're thinking about in this time and in this season. So I'm Joan Williams, holistic health and wellness coach. And I'm not going to take up too much time. We got so much goodies. So let's jump right in. Beverly, welcome. You're truly amazing. Thank you for all the amazing things you're doing. Your great impact to the world. You're dropping a lot of gems here and there, and you're spreading a lot of goodness in the world and helping us all. Whether we are entrepreneurs or we're trying to think to be that, you're helping us. So we're happy that you take your time tonight to sit with us and talk about it and help us to navigate through that. And you're going to also talk about your amazing business as well with your candles and stuff like that. But let's start with where you are right now and how you got into this whole setup. Thank you.
Woo! Hello, ladies.
Hello.
I'm super excited about the conversation. Super excited to be here. And so you said, how did I get started? Oh my gosh. This is year 16 as an entrepreneur.
Congratulations.
This is business number 5 for me over these 16
Yeah.
years. And so I've been a business strategist for the past 8 years. So, for me, it's been something that is just a natural part of me. Like to me, teaching, is a natural part of me. Like I actually spent 14 years in the classroom as a middle school math teacher. Uh, and then I transitioned into doing training and consulting for a couple of other companies before transitioning and doing it for myself. And so to me, this is an evolution of who I am. So, like I said, when I think about business strategy, when I think about supporting, these other entrepreneurs with their businesses, like I said, it's just an evolution of being
Yeah.
a teacher. It's just, different iterations of teaching. And so that's how I look at that. So for me, I have literally been doing this, I feel like my entire life,
Wow.
that type of thing. So, yeah, so it's definitely been a journey and a process to get to where I am specifically right now. But like I said, I've seen when I look back and reflect, I've seen this my entire life.
Congratulations. And is I like what you said. It's just it's such a beauty when we can look back
Mhm.
and see how far we've come and the evolution and the amazing things that brought us to where we are right now in life. It's really beautiful. It's a
And
joy.
I think and even when we do that look back, you'll see strands and you'll see pieces, of that continuity in it, of things where when you initially were doing it, you may not have seen yourself where you are now,
True,
but it kind
true,
of
true,
laid the
true.
groundwork and the foundation for where you are now. And you look back, and you're like, oh, okay, so that's why I did that, or that's why I had to experience that,
Right,
or
right,
that's
right.
why I went through that. Like, when you look back, it's like another piece to the puzzle type of situation. So yes.
And that is true because sometimes when we look at it, we said, "Oh my goodness!" Because when we now getting started and we're going through so many different things, and you're trying to know, well, what is this going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess sometimes you try to, did I make the right decision? Did I make the right choice? But you go forward for it anyway because you have the burning desire within that this is what I want to do. This is my passion. I feel I'm walking in my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So you continue to move forward, and as you move forward, you gain the strength, the determination, and then as you move forward, and I think there's where the evolution is because then you start to see things much clearer. It makes much sense to you, and you feel fulfilled. It's very rewarding. So talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Of how did you move over
Mm-hmm.
every situation you've been through, the challenges, the
Mm-hmm.
failures, the
Mm-hmm.
setback, and how did you bounce back throughout those periods?
And it's so interesting because as you were talking, the word that popped up, especially as an entrepreneur, is risk taker. You have to be okay with taking risks. You have to be okay with failure. And I'm going to put that in quotation marks.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, I truly believe they never step out into entrepreneurship because they what if themselves to death. What if I do
Hmm.
this and it doesn't work? Wait a
Right.
minute. What if I do this and it fails? Wait a minute. I have a family to take care of. What if I do this and become homeless? And like there all of these what ifs that
What
I really
ifs?
feel
Right.
like keep people frozen and they don't truly walk in everything that they've been called to walk in. And so, if you have any inkling to be an entrepreneur, or if you are an entrepreneur, if you look at the definition of entrepreneur, it has the word risk taking in there. So if that is not something that you're comfortable with taking risks, then I'm telling you, this
Yeah.
entrepreneurial journey, is going to
Hmm.
be even more interesting. And so, for me, my faith is very important to me. And so, I have to be able to have that faith and step out there. And you mentioned the word alignment, and I take the next step. And I'm just like, okay, guys, this is what you have for me. I'm going to take this next step. But I also know if I get off track, you're going to get me back on track, just like you have been doing all my life. And so, being comfortable with that, even that in the risk taking. And for myself, I think back to, I played it very safe in a lot of ways. Like I went to school, I applied to like 2 colleges or maybe even one college because I'm like, hey, I'm going to get into this college. And then once it was time to graduate, I once again, my degree is in education. So I think I applied to 2 different school districts. I'm like, one of these are going to hire me. Like I'm literally just, taking these steps. Like I just know it's going to work. I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have a plan, CDEFG, none of that. And so even when I transitioned into education, like I said, I just knew for me that, and I remember saying when I was a little girl that I was not going to retire. Like I knew I wasn't going to be 65 or 67. I don't know what the retirement age is now, 65, 67, retiring from the classroom. So I knew that that was just going to be a part of my journey. I
Hmm.
didn't know the full picture,
Right.
but I knew that, a traditional classroom setting teacher, I was going to do that. But I knew it was only going to be for a season. And so for me, when that season was over, I knew, that whatever God had for me next, that I was just going to take that next step. And for me, when I think about the what ifs, like I tell people this all the time, like I didn't have, the family that I could, lean on if things didn't work
Hmm.
out. I don't have
Right.
the spouse, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just me. So either it's going to work or it's not. And, we're going to have to figure it out, like that
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And literally I spent a lot of time, figuring it out in the process of it. The things that worked really well, super awesome. The things that did not work well, because I'm going to be very transparent in this conversation. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It's not for everyone either.
Right.
Like it's
Right.
really not.
Right.
And so, like I said, you just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to be okay with not always having the answer or knowing the
Hmm.
answer. And like I said, literally having that, it's a faith walk. To me, every single day is a faith walk. I think sometimes the online space can paint a picture that's not a true representation
Right. Right. Right.
of what entrepreneurship is. If you're not careful, you'll see online that everyone is in a private jet, taking pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
no, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works type of
Right.
situation. And so I think the more of these real conversations that we have about navigating entrepreneurship, I think that actually equips people to be better prepared. Not that you're going to be 100% prepared before
Right.
you step out there, because, like I said, I really feel like you just have to step out there and do it. Even for myself, this is year, like I said, 16 of business. But even today, we launched the website for the candles, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I know it's going to be some things that are not going to work. Somebody will tell me. They will let me know, and like, hey, Deb, did you realize that you like? They're gonna let me know, and I'm in that space where I'm just like, I don't look for perfection
True.
in things.
Oh, I'm so glad you
So
said that. I'm so glad you said that.
yeah, so that's me. Like I said, I'm okay with them, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna put this stuff in quotation marks: mistakes and failures, and all of the words that we ascribe to it. I'm okay with those things because for me, it's a part of the learning. Like, it's a learning process. And so when you're willing to step out there, and I always say, as long as you operate in integrity and in excellence, like, it's going to work out. It's going to work out the way that it's supposed to. I believe that in everything in my being.
Oh my goodness, Beverly. Oh my, that's why we say you are so amazing, because every single thing that you said, you mentioned there, and that you outlined, is great food that you're feeding us tonight with. It's solid. It's good for our soul. And I like the way that you spoke about your which is your kingdom principle, I guess you
Mm-hmm,
would say, or your faith, because you allow your faith to guide you. That's your base, that's your foundation, that's what you lean on to give you the level of success, to give you the level of guidance, so that you can able to walk in that level of purpose, be in your power, and bring it to the world, because you are allowing that to come through you, so that you can serve us all with the space that you're in.
and I think
Wow.
and I think it's so important. Earlier we were talking about, we mentioned about, your goals and your objectives and what's your
Mm-hmm.
mission, because that's going to be part of your foundation. And
Sure.
so when you're able to anchor in and you understand your why and you know your why,
Wow.
and when
Yep.
things
Yep.
don't work
Yep.
out the way that, like, wait a
Right.
minute,
Right. Right.
this
Right.
not what I
Right.
had written in my business plan type of situation, or when
Mm-hmm.
you look at your mission statement and your current situation is not in alignment with the mission and the goals and all that stuff at the moment, when you have those things and you're anchored in that, it doesn't allow for you to get off course and get distracted and like, okay, well, maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to be doing this, and maybe it's time for me to
Right.
quit, and maybe,
Right. Right.
like, you are anchored in the why. And I tell my people all the time, if your why is rooted in making money, if that's the only reason, I'm telling you, when the money's not coming in the way that you thought that it would, you're gonna give
Right.
up. You're gonna
Right.
abandon ship. You're gonna jump ship. And it's like, no, that can't be the sole reason why you're doing, especially in entrepreneurship. That cannot be the sole reason, because I'm telling you, when it's not flowing, when you look at the account and it's either zero or negative or whatever it is, that would be the time where, like I said, you end up jumping ship. And it's like, no, so you have to ensure that you have something more than money. Like I said, your why has to be so profound. It has to be so loud, in the sense that, when you get into those spaces where it's not moving and flowing the way that you thought, you have that to be anchored in. So I think that's really important.
That is so true. Karen?
Beverly, you're really enriching us this evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're really helping us to understand the true meaning of being an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you rightfully said, a lot of times people are painting pictures, and when people see these pictures, they believe it's that easy
Mm-hmm.
to just hop on that bandwagon, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be an overnight
Correct.
success, you
Correct.
know,
Correct.
not realizing it's a stairs that you have to climb to
Mm-hmm.
reach in.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're climbing these stairs, sometimes these stairs are very tough to climb.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, as I said in the open statement, sometimes you got to stand and you got to pivot
Correct. Correct.
before
Correct.
you move forward. And sometimes you find you may start it off in one direction and you got to change course.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got to change the course, and then you have to be willing enough to understand that language.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like when you talk about your faith, because that's your spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know we have to have a foundation that we need to stand on to
Right.
keep us grounded in
That's what I
those
say.
times when
Mm-hmm.
we feel we're wavering, we're having these emotions and these thoughts about what we're doing. We have to have a foundation that we can stand on to keep us grounded as we move forward with our business. You know, it is so important for us to really understand life, because moving on this journey called life, it calls for a lot of patience. It
Mm.
calls for a lot of strength. And if you cannot find that, you cave. You would cave. You gotta surround yourself with the right kind of people as
That's a big
well.
one.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
is super
you
important.
know because if you don't surround yourself with the right kind of people, they will not keep you motivated to move
Mm-hmm.
forward.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
when you are about to start something, a business or whatever it is that you want to start, you have to have the right kind of people who is going to motivate you,
Correct.
who's going to be there for you genuinely and
That's the
honestly
word.
being there for you. It
Correct.
Yeah.
is super important.
Correct.
And another thing is that when we are about to do something, we need to have that source, that higher source that we need to go to.
All
And
the
when
time.
we go to that source, we need to listen and pay attention, because many times we want to do things on our own, yes, but we need to listen, because you know what? We have our inner wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
We have that inner wisdom that will give us the direction that we need. So, doing business is not just getting up one day and said, okay, I'm going to be rich overnight. It's not
Wish it was
that.
that easy. Wish it was that easy. Yes.
Right. Right. Right.
Then
Or,
everybody
or,
be entrepreneur. Yes.
or you're going to have a magic wand and just say,
Right.
whop, I'm going to rich now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It takes time. It takes time to
It does.
build.
It does.
Beverly, what can you say to someone who is about to start a business? What advice could you give to, especially a young individual who is about to start a business? What are some guidelines and some tips can you give to that young person?
It's a couple of things that I would say, and you touched on it as well. For a lot of us as business owners, like we're really good at the thing, whatever the thing is. So whether or not it's like photography, whether or not you do hair, you're really good at that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I strongly encourage you to also get good at the business side of
Mm-hmm.
your business. Just going out and taking pictures, that's not enough. You see what I'm saying? Like I have to be, I have to ensure that I'm good with, and a lot of us, especially when you're starting out, you wear all the hats. So you wear the hat as, the photographer, you're the marketer, you're the
Right.
salesperson,
Right.
you see what I'm saying? Sometimes you're the accountant,
Mm-hmm.
the social media manager, like you have all of these different hats. And so, you want to ensure that when you go into business that either, like I said, either you're good at the thing or you're good at hiring someone, which goes
Right.
back to,
Mm-hmm.
you listening and seeking, that knowledge and that wisdom of who it is that you want to associate yourself with business wise.
Sure.
And so you want to be really careful with that. So I'm such a firm believer. I don't care if you are, 16 and you're starting your business, or you are 61 and starting your business. It is so important for you to understand the business side to what it is
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing, because I truly
Right.
believe so many people get caught up and they trip in that sense of either they weren't prepared for the business
Mm-hmm.
aspect of what it is that they're doing, or they entrusted people that did not have
Right.
their best
Right.
interest in heart, and they end up losing it all. So you have to be very discerning,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to just the business side. So that's going to be one of the things that I just strongly encourage people, to do when they're going into entrepreneurship. There's a lot of things that you can do to prepare yourself and, get the information that you need. So, you definitely want to make sure that you do that. Spend that time
Right.
preparing yourself and learning and those types of things like that. So that's definitely one thing I would say. The second thing is something that you touched on as well is community. I tell people this all the time. I do not think that we were called to navigate entrepreneurship by ourselves. Point blank,
Right.
period.
Right.
This is such, because the thing is, you know, not everyone, is an entrepreneur. And so I believe, this is me personally, I didn't see any research on this, but those that are not entrepreneurs, it can be harder for them to understand what this journey and this
True.
process is.
True.
And so, you can definitely have your support system that are not entrepreneurs, but you want to be even really careful with that, because sometimes people will project their own fears and insecurities in
Exactly.
you.
Yeah.
And it's not even necessarily them being a hater. I know that's a word that we like to
Right.
use, but like I said, sometimes they are genuinely looking out and they don't want to see you fail. They don't want to see you hurt.
Right.
But like I said, if they
Right.
don't understand what this entrepreneurial thing is all about, then like I said, they can project that onto you.
Hmm.
So you want to be careful about, who it is that you surround yourself, personally, because for some people, you may not be able to discuss everything business wise with some
True.
people, and it's okay. Like, be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's okay if you can't go to your spouse or your mom or your sister or your sibling or whatever to discuss those things, even your best friend, because they may not understand it. And so, so like I said, your personal circle is going to be important, but also even like your business acquaintances and things like that, and I truly believe, having associates and people that you can, as a female, we say biz bestie, having those people where you can have those conversations. And I truly believe it needs to be like a two-way street, where it's not just you always pouring out to other people and giving the advice, but
Hmm.
where you can get poured into as well. And and I my clients will tell you, I say this as well, as a business strategist or business coach, yes, you can come to me about what the challenges are. And my thing is, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you whine and complain for about 2.2 seconds. But then, we
Hmm.
move back into that. Okay, so what are we gonna do next? We move into problem solving mode of, what are we going to do about the situation? So
Hmm.
that type of thing. So, like I said, you need those people where you can be real and honest and raw about what's going on in entrepreneurship. And like I said, have those honest conversations, but you don't want to stay in that space of,
True.
complaining, 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 complaining,
Right.
that type of thing, because you don't get anything done like that. And so, so your personal circle is going to be very important as you're starting this journey, or even while you're on this journey. And then even, like I said, your business associates and things like that, that's going to be important as well, on this journey. So that would be that second thing that I would really and truly tell them, when it comes to the business. Like I said, that third thing would be the why. You have to be really anchored in your why of what it is you're doing and why you're doing this. And Karen, you mentioned earlier about being open to the pivots, because so many people feel like, oh my gosh, if I switch and I change something, then that means I fail, or that means,
Hmm.
or people are gonna
Right.
think I'm all over the place. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is a part of the journey. I tell
Hmm.
my clients all the time, where you were 2 years ago, you're not even the same person you were two
True.
years ago. So your business,
Absolutely.
That's
yeah,
so
your
true.
business is going to look different as you grow and evolve. So will your business, and so will how you show up, and so will, the way that you do things. Because I truly believe, especially as women, we a lot of times we will start a business out of some type of trauma response. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that happened, and we start. And once again, as you start to grow and evolve, you realize that sometimes that business that you started because you needed to pay the rent or whatever it was,
Right.
realize, wait a minute, this is not in alignment with now how I desire to show up in the world and who I be at this moment in time. And so, once again, it's okay for you to let go of how you used to do business, even the people you serve, the products that you have, the client. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's just a part to me of the evolution. And I think when we embrace that and we're okay with knowing that as we grow and evolve, so will our businesses, that I feel like that will, take the weight off so many people that are holding on to things that no longer serve them, especially when it comes to
True.
That is so.
True.
I just want to interject. I so like how you brought this up, because I think there is where the struggle is. Sometimes you start a business. Okay, this is what, for whatever reason, You thought this is what it's going to be, and this is always going to be. But then as time moves along and you realize it's not really serving me well, I think I need to do something else. Or you might
Yeah.
start to have new ideas. You went back to school or whatever it is that you to move to the next. But then in between there is where the struggle. Should I hold on to this? Do I move forward? What do I do in the middle? So speak to the people who have that um, way with in that situation right now and is struggling to let that part go and move into what is new, move into their next that's going to help them to catapult to higher success.
I think
Speak to them.
one, I think one, even just having the conversation about it. For some people, hearing like, wait a minute, it's okay. It doesn't mean that I messed up. It didn't doesn't mean I got it wrong. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't mean that I heard it wrong. Any of that stuff. It means, like I said, that you're growing and evolving. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it's okay. For
Right.
anyone that is experiencing that, like it's okay. And like I said, the way that you may have started things is not how you're going to end up doing things.
Right.
And I sometimes I chuckle because I'm like, it's interesting that in other areas and aspects of our lives, we're okay with that. Like even if you have like a career, like you
Right.
usually don't stay in that same position, you know what I'm saying, for 50 years. Like there is some growth and promotion and change. And
True.
sometimes they leave
True.
the company, you
True.
can go to a different department. It's the same thing in our businesses. You see what I'm saying? Like be
Yeah.
open to embracing the change and the new and the growth. And I think that's the biggest thing. So for anyone that's experiencing that right now, or having that back and forth, and oh my gosh, should I do? Once again, if you feel like that's in alignment with what it is and how it is that you've been called to show up in the world, trust it. Trust that feeling, that inkling that you have, the prompting that you have. It's there for a reason. And like I said, so many of us we're so afraid of getting it wrong. What if I hurt?
Right.
What if I no, and like I said, the what ifs will keep us stuck in places that
Right.
we're not supposed to be. So we have to trust that process. We have to trust, in that inner knowing, that inner being, in the fact, in the sense of, hey, I'm going to trust this because, like I said, to me, it's about, that faith walk. Like, okay, I'm going to have the faith to take the next step, that
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. And if I quote unquote get it wrong, I'm going to get back on track. Like I said, just like I've been doing all this time. So that's what I would have for that person. Like I said, trust that, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're knowing. And, make that shift, make the pivot, trust in it, walk in that faith. And once again, just watch what starts to transpire and watch what happens as a result of your obedience.
That is so true. That is so true. Because even if you fail at something, when you move forward, you have new experience.
Mm-hmm.
You have new level of understanding. How can I do it better? So
Mm-hmm.
you're not
Mm-hmm.
really starting over. You have coming with new information, new
Correct.
perspective, a more level of clarity, and then
Correct.
you can move more intentionally with what is it that you're trying to achieve or whatever goal in mind that you're working on.
Correct, correct. That is so true. And I think sometimes, we allow those other voices to be louder. And
Yes.
sometimes the voice is our own
Right.
voice, like I said, what are people gonna think? Oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm,
what if,
mm-hmm.
and so I feel like when we release ourselves, from that the chains of other people and what other people are gonna
Right.
think and all that stuff, it oh my gosh, it's so freeing
It's
when you're in
freeing.
that space
It's
like that.
freeing.
It
You
really
said
and
it.
truly is.
It's so
It is.
freeing.
It is.
It's so freeing because when you allow that, as we've been talking about, leaning into our inner being, our inner wisdom, and allowing whatever form of spiritual practice you hone in on, and you incorporate that, listen and be guided, and then you look at the results after. You say, "Oh my God, why did I worry so much?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you're more relaxed, you're more free, you're letting in your form of spirituality, and you're being guided.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're moving forward, you're turning the page, you're going to your next. And then when you look back and you evaluate and you said, why did
Yes.
I worry so much?
Yes, yes. And Joan, something that you said a little bit earlier too, when you embrace that and when you're in that space and place where you look for the lessons that you learn in that situation, like it makes such a huge difference. And it's like,
True.
okay, now I have more information, now I can make better informed decisions as I move forward. So when you said that earlier, that really resonated with me because yes,
Thank you.
everything
Yeah.
take the lessons. What can I learn from that? What can I do better from that situation, or whatever, or what do I know to stay away from the next time? Like
Right.
everything is like a learning experience. So what can I use from that? How can I grow from that situation? So yes.
And I think when we look at it from that point of view, we feel so much better about ourselves because you're now embracing life to its fullest. You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, and you can feel good about life because you understand, even though I may have had experienced failures, I might have setbacks, I might have fears, but I'm stronger now so that I
Yes.
can evolve and move forward, make better choices, make better decisions.
And that's
It's free.
that's key. Yep, that is key. It's very freeing. So yeah, when you get to a space in a place like that, I'm telling you, you move at a different level of just wow.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, just that level of freedom. Like it's empowering, that part. So yes.
Karen, this is so
As
good. This is
I,
so
oh my
good.
God, this conversation is so inspiring.
Thank you so much,
And
Beverly. This is so good.
as I'm listening to both of you, what come to mind, is that when with everything in life, not only business alone, you have to learn to adapt.
Oh, yeah.
You have to learn to adapt, and you have to have the determination,
Mm-hmm.
because once you have that vision in whatever you're doing, you have to
Right.
have that determination
Mm-hmm.
that, what, I'm not going to look at this as failure. I'm going to look at this as success.
Mhm.
And once you can start to see things through that lens, it will help you to understand and motivate you at the set time.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to see something as a failure,
Mhm.
Right.
well, then you know what? You start to feel that energy of failure.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
But then if you start to see something as a lesson, as both of you said, Beverly and John, as a lesson and as a guideline for you to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
then it brings that determination energy within you
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
that you
Mhm.
That's so
can move
true.
forward, and you gotta stay focused.
Oh,
Correct.
yes.
Correct.
Correct.
You
Correct.
gotta stay focused. Whatever is your vision in life,
Mhm. Mhm.
you have to stay focused. Because many times your vision is not someone else's vision, and
True.
Correct.
someone else cannot see your vision.
Mhm.
You
Right.
Mhm.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
That is why
Yes.
you gotta surround yourself with the right
Right
kind of
people.
people.
True.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
many
True.
times you may have a friend, you have a
Mhm.
vision, and then the friend will say, "Girl, you know what you're doing." You
Mhm.
understand what
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
when you start to hear those kind of negative speeches
Mm-hmm.
coming into your ear,
Mhm.
you tend to doubt your vision.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You
Yes.
tend to doubt yourself. You tend to doubt your steps that you're taking. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have a vision in life, that's your vision. And you need to know, adapt yourself,
Right.
Mhm.
and to
Mhm.
believe in yourself, believe in your vision, have the faith in your vision, and start to move forward. And just remember that it's not going to be a clear cut path.
Mhm.
It's not going to
Not
be a
gonna
clear
be.
cut path.
Never is.
You're going to have hiccups along the way. But as you move along, you learn, you grow. You learn, you grow. You learn, you grow. And as you learn and you grow, you set yourself up for success. Another thing too
Correct.
is that what we have to do too is that we have to be open of learning new things.
Mhm.
Because remember, every day things are changing.
Of course.
And we got to be open minded to learning new things as we move along, and not be so grounded in one thing. You got to be
Correct.
open. You know what? The market is changing. I need
Correct.
to make a shift.
Mhm.
Right,
Right.
Beverly?
That that
No,
and it's so funny you say that, Karen. As you were talking, I wrote down mindset shift. Being an
I was just gonna
entrepreneur,
say
like
that too. Yeah.
your employee mindset and an entrepreneur mindset are two different mindsets, two
Absolutely.
completely
True.
different mindsets. And so you have to have that, like you said, that growth minded mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to know and understand. And so that's one thing
Right.
for me as a business strategist. Um, the way that I work with my clientele is just very funny that you just said what you said, Karen, because my clients will tell you I don't do a one size fits all. Like it doesn't work that way. And once again, that goes back to my classroom teaching days where I would have a classroom of 31 kids and I could not do the same thing with
Right.
31 kids. Like I had to have what we and as an educator we call it differentiation. I had to differentiate what I may do with a group of kids. I may not do the same thing with the other group of kids. And so for me, the same thing as a business strategist. What a strategy that may work for one of my clients may not work for the other client.
Absolutely.
And
Exactly.
so being open to that, even for myself, and then even for them, them being open to the different strategies and the different ways that things go. And just like you said, even when you look at the trends in entrepreneurship, like those things change.
Of
And so
Yes.
course.
you have to be open to that. So it was just funny that when you said that, like literally the phrase I literally wrote down mindset shift, as
Yeah.
you were talking, because it is such a shift in your mindset and you do have to be open and flexible. But when I tell people that about being open and flexible, I always say you're not compromising your values. Like we're not talking about
Right.
that. We're not
Right.
talking about that.
Right. Right.
But once again,
Right.
being open and flexible to the changes and the trends and all of those things like that, that's what I'm referring to. And even going back to the question we asked earlier, well, what do you say to the person that may be in that place of pivot and transition and all of those things? Like you have to be open to that. And when you are, the more open you are to that, it makes things so much easier for you, when those changes do come or when you do have to, all of those things. So it's just funny that you said that because that's what popped up in my head as you were talking.
That this is such a great conversation because,
Yes.
and it's happening, Beverly, at the right time. The right time we are winding down in 2024, and we all are getting ready to set up where I am and what I'm getting ready to start new for 2025. So all these tips and what you're serving us, expanding our container and our toolbox, you're dropping in all these gems because then we now can refocus as we getting ready to reset and restart and renew,
Mm-hmm,
new beginnings.
mm-hmm,
And so this is a conversation that we can take moving forward in 2025 as we get ready to set up all these goals and everything that we're thinking about. Where do I start first? I give an evaluation of where I am and then look and see, well, what do I want to do? And I like how you talk about your why. What is your why? Because there have to be a why you, there has to be a burning desire. Why do I want to do this? What's my reason for doing this? Do I have enough drive behind it? How bad do I want it?
mm-hmm.
How bad do I want it? And it depends how bad do you want this and the level of impact that you want to create. Then you go after it. Is that right?
Yes, 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 yes. And it's so interesting. And I always I get into this funny space. I just made a post on one of my social media platforms when we end the year. And it's always a balance for me. And even when I have a conversation with my community, because I feel like sometimes we can be so driven, especially now at this time of the year, 2025, 2025. Oh my gosh, it's gonna
Right,
be.
right, right.
But I'm like, I don't want to skip the rest of 2024.
True.
Even some of the
Absolutely.
things that we were talking about earlier,
Yeah,
it's like, you still want to wake up and enjoy, today, and
true.
then the next day, that we still have in this year. So sometimes I feel like we can be so forward thinking that we don't embrace, just
Right,
like you
right.
said, embrace and celebrate.
Hmm.
We were talking earlier in the intro about, celebrating each day. What can
Right.
I celebrate about today?
True.
Sometimes I feel like I said, we're so focused on the future, and it's like, but in embrace and enjoy the now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
Because you're missing on that. Yeah,
correct. And my thing is, it's so much that can happen today. In
true.
this next minute. And so, being open to embracing the day, you can still prepare for
Right, exactly.
2025. But once again, we don't want to just say, well, hey, it's It's the end of the year, so I'm just gonna, I'm gonna forget about the goals that I have, and we're just gonna start afresh. No, you can continue. You can continue in
Right.
2024, like that type of thing. So yes, yep, yes, yes, yes,
I'm
yes,
so
yes. I
glad you
think it's so
said that,
important.
Beverly. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Mm-hmm. What role fear play
That's a
in
biggie.
talk about that?
Whew, okay. This is like I said, I truly believe just as humans, our natural instinct is to protect. Your way your mind is set up, your subconscious mind is set up to protect you. And so, back in the day, it was protect me from a wild animal. Well, most of us don't have to worry about walking outside my door and being attacked by a wild animal. Like, we don't have to worry about that. But your subconscious mind still has this thing of protecting you. And so, whether or not it's protection from failure, you see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's still, that's one of its
Right.
purposes, is to protect. And so, that fear that we have, the fear of failure, the fear of success, because the fear of
Mm-hmm.
success is a real thing, you
Right.
know, those things where the fear is there. And so my thing is always, what do you do with it? Do you allow
Mm-hmm.
the fear to drive you, or do you allow your faith to drive you? Which
Mm-hmm.
one? Because you can't have both of them
Right.
driving you at the same time, because then that means you're not going anywhere. And so, for
Right.
me, going back to entrepreneurship, there's always going to be that certain level of unknown. Like, it's going to be
Mm.
an unknown, element to what it is that we do as entrepreneurs. And so for us, when that fear pops up, not if, but when it pops up, what do you do with it? And it's just so funny because even for myself, with this new venture, I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about candle. I
Yeah.
don't know anything about this. Like, this was something completely and totally new. So even as I was having the conversation with you all tonight, I'm talking to myself as well, like currently in the midst of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that type of thing. And so to me, I feel like as entrepreneurs, there's always going to be that element of fear there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
my thing is, what do you do with it? Do you allow it
Mm-hmm.
to drive you and lead you? Or
Right.
is that something where you're like, you know what? No, I may not know when I take this next step, when
Mm-hmm.
I send this
Right.
email, when I step on this stage, when I walk into this meeting, I may not know the outcome of it. And I may not be able to control that. But what I can control is how I show up. You know what I'm saying? And those types of things. So, I'm such a fan of, the things that you can control, and then the things that you can't, let it go. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because that adds another level of fear and stress and worry and doubt and shame and guilt
Yeah.
and all of those things. And it's like, no, I'd rather focus on the faith and the abundance and the overflow and the prosperity, all of those things that are around. And it's like, okay, if that situation doesn't work out the way that I thought that it would, I know something better is coming along. You see what I'm saying? And so when you
Yeah.
operate from that mindset, it makes such a huge difference.
I like what you said there. Yeah. When you operate in the space of faith and abundance and success, it's a good space to be in and to think about that and hone in on that and dwell on that.
Correct. 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 Focus on, yeah. When you focus on the overflow, the abundance, the prosperity, I'm telling you, you will bring in more of that.
True.
But when you
True.
focus on that lack and that doubt and that worry, you're gonna bring in more of that. So, like, which one do you want?
Absolutely.
Which one do you want? You make that
Right.
decision, that type of thing. So I
Absolutely.
firmly believe that.
Totally agree with you.
I'm so
Yes.
glad how you talk about that because sometimes people focus a lot on lack and scarcity and just feel about that. And if the, I'm glad you mentioned if you can just move into the space, pivot and shift that level of mindset and just try that
Mm-hmm.
and look around you and see the level of abundance, see the
Mm-hmm.
success. Think about that and dwell in that. You feel different.
Correct. Correct. That is so true. That's so true.
It is true. We believe that.
Beverly, tell us about your candle line now.
Yeah. Been
Ah!
waiting. Restore,
Yes.
renew.
So,
Talk
Do you
about
have
yeah.
that.
any? Do you have any at your hand which that you can show us?
I do. I do have a few. So this candle line, and it's kind of hard to see, just the glare from my lighting. But we have five candles.
Joy.
Yeah,
Wow.
this one is joy, and this one, let's see, praise and worship.
Love it.
Wow.
And so each one of them, and once again, I know it's kind of hard to tell,
Oh
but
my
there's a
God, that's
That's
flower
beautiful. That's
beautiful.
that are, and
beautiful.
this is all hand poured. These are all made by hand. And this one,
Wow.
I haven't even labeled this one. This is peace. It's the blue one. So
Okay.
this is
Wow.
peace. and renew and restore. Some of the things that we've
Love
spoken
it.
about, renew
Love
and
it.
restore. And
Beautiful.
then this one is called love.
Wow.
And so even this candle line for me, I tell people all the time, when you smell this candle, so if it's joy, like if you're in this space where you're just like, okay, life is life, and light this candle. You don't even have to light it, just smell it. And I promise you, a smile will pop up on your face. And so, I was doing this, I was working with a group of entrepreneurs, and I kept getting the phrase, unspeakable joy, unspeakable peace, like this level of just, peace and joy, like you're not even going to be able to explain it. And so, as these phrases are coming to me, and God is giving me this whole candle, I'm like, God, I don't know anything about making candle. What you talking about? So, literally, this past 6 months, I have exactly what we were talking about. Like I had to become a student again of this thing and learning this process because there's a science behind candle making. And so for me, what I love about this process is that it allows for me to tap into my creative side, which I don't always
Mm-hmm.
do that, and the
Right.
analytical side. Because literally you are measuring and you're, taking the temperature and you're, it's all of these things. And so I get to use both sides. So like I said, the analytical side of me, because like I said, I taught math for so long, so I get to do that and I get to have that, so it's like a science lab. And then the creative side is with the different scents and the different names it comes, so I get to tap into both sides of my brain, which I don't always get to do that. And so to make these candles, it's such a relaxing feeling. Like when I'm in there, I turn my music on and I'm just making these candles, and it's such a beautiful experience.
Wow.
And so, like I said, this line here, we started off with 5 cents. Once again, literally the website launched today. Like we did pre-order, we shipped out pre-orders last week, and we the website went live today. One person just texted me and heard what she said to me, which I did not say it to her, but what she said to me was, an activity that she did today. She was like, it fills me with so much anxiety. And she said, I came and I lit the peace candle. And she said, literally, it shifted my entire
Wow.
mood.
Wow.
And that's the purpose of this. So love, joy, peace. Like when you light it, I literally, like, it's literally going to shift your mood. So, when I'm working, I'll light this peace candle. You see what I'm saying? Like whatever. And it's a mood shifter, that type of thing. And so it's to be able to have that level of impact with someone. But like I said, they were filled with anxiety about an activity that they had, and they came in and they lit one of these candles, and it literally shifted their mood. I'm like, okay, God, I understand, this process and why you had me go through this process, and then now being able to impact the lives of others. Like, God, I get it. I understand. So yes.
You know,
Wow, that's so beautiful,
I've
Beverly.
got to stick a pin here. I'm just listening to you, right? And I could see the enthusiasm within.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's not just doing a business, it's doing a business with a purpose,
Of course.
you know? And the energy that you put into what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing,
Hmm. Hmm.
that is how it's going to be. When you lit that candle up, you're going to feel that energy that you're putting into that candle, Beverly. Because remember, each candle that you pour, you're pouring your energy into that candle as
Exactly.
well. So when that person buy that candle and that person light that candle, that person could feel that joy. That person could feel happy. That person could shift. And it's a beautiful thing when you can buy something and you can feel the energy from the manufacturer where it came from.
Yes.
That's not only business, it's an energy shift as well.
Beauty.
Beautiful.
Beauty. Beauty. Now talk about impact. That is how you that is how you create an impact in the world, because the energy is being transferred in the space, in the moment, and you're changing lives. You're
Hmm.
making a difference in spaces. And think about everyone that buy your candle. What you're doing for them. You're changing the mood.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that to me goes back to what we
That's
talked about
amazing.
earlier, like your why. You know what I'm saying? Like when
Yes,
it's anchored
your
Yes.
in
why.
something deeper than making money or whatever,
True,
it
true,
makes such a
true,
huge
true,
difference. And so, like I said, getting a message like that, and I was just like, literally, I was like,
true.
Okay,
Right,
God, I
right.
get it. Because what I tell
You, yeah,
you,
yeah,
late
yeah,
nights, but it was worth it
yeah.
to hear
Hmm.
that. So yeah,
The preparation.
It's very
yes.
fulfilling too. It's very fulfilling.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Sorry.
It is. And
Yeah.
like I said, that's the thing that causes you as an entrepreneur to get up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? To keep going. That
Right.
type of thing. When you get those, those notes like that, that's the thing that keeps you going. So
And the beautiful thing as well is that when you're walking in your purpose,
Mm,
you know,
sure.
you feel that energy,
Mm-hmm.
you get these downpours,
yeah.
and then you're able to bring it into manifestation.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes.
And you can watch this thing manifest itself.
hmm
So
hmm
that is truly amazing.
And I just want to jump right into obedience.
Yes,
Obedience and confidence. I just want to
yes.
drop that in right there.
And I think that's important. Even going back to the question that we mentioned a little bit earlier about pivots and stuff like that. And sometimes we don't understand
Yes.
why, we may have to shift and change.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you may never understand the
True.
why, the reason behind it. But when you walk in that level of obedience, like you said, sometimes it will be revealed to you. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I get it
Okay,
now.
I get
Okay,
it.
I understand why
Right.
I had to do what
Mm-hmm.
had to do it at the
Right.
time that I had to do it. Okay, it makes sense now. I get it
Mm-hmm.
now. Because
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, it's not about you. It's
True.
it's usually going to be
True.
connected to someone else. Someone
Mm-hmm.
True.
else's breakthrough, deliverance. That type of thing is connected to your obedience. So when you walk in that space of obedience and you do the thing, then like I said, you see that it literally has like a a trickle effect, a
Mm-hmm.
trickle down effect, a ripple effect. And once again, like I said, usually it's not about you. Once again, usually it's someone else connected to your obedience.
Wow, this was such an
Oh
interesting
my
and
God, what a treat.
inspiring conversation.
You have to come again.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm more than happy to do that.
Such a joy.
Yeah, it
I,
is
Thank
I
really a
you.
treat.
I think we got everything from this space. So we got renew, we got joy, we got creativity, we got restore, we got what well, we didn't sing, but we got worship.
Yes,
What did
yes.
and then you said it's I noticed you mentioned it's on your site it's 100% soy, the
hmm
candles.
Yes, yep. So that was one of the big things for me as well. Like I said, one of the things, if you notice, each candle has a flower on top because I love flowers. So I wanted to incorporate a part of my personality, which is my love of flowers. So, it makes you think about the fact, usually when you see a flower or you have a flower, your first instinct is to smell it. Of course, it's a candle as well. So you're smelling that. But
Yeah.
another thing as well is I wanted it to be healthy. The day and age that we live in, and thank God, that there's more of a push for healthy. And we talked about that earlier in
Yeah.
the intro as well.
Right.
Healthy, and it's like, what are you putting in your body? what are you putting on your skin? What are you inhaling? Those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to actual like soy wax, you know, um, it emits less smoke and soot and toxins.
Mm-hmm.
They actually burn 35 to 50% longer than paraffin wax. And then, they're eco-friendly, so they're biodegradable, vegan,
Right.
because it's soy, like literally like soy, and it can be recycled. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was really important to me to use, that wax that was, friendly when it comes to the environment. And even the glass jars that they come in, like once your candle is done burning, you can literally, you can clean this out and then you can reuse it. So you can, have it in your bathroom and put your cotton balls in it, so you can actually reuse the container.
Sure.
So it's
Yeah, you
like,
can
hey, like it's a
repurpose.
win-win for everything. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
We
Yes.
want to thank you so much, Beverly, for coming into this space this evening, and you really enriched us. You served us well, and you really help us to understand the business aspect when you're really getting into business. What are some of the strategies and the tips that we should really look at before we really get into business, and not just thinking that business is just hopping on a wagon and it's going to be overnight change, you know, like what is being shown to us. And we have to understand that it's a walk, and it's a walk by faith, and not being fearful of your walk, because you got to walk with your purpose. And whatever is your spirituality, let that be your foundation that you can stand on. Because doing business, you need some form of spirituality. You need some form of spirituality to keep you grounded and centered and balanced. And your mindset is super important, because we touched on that subject, that area subject here tonight. Mindset, that is super important. So Beverly, you really served us well. You help us to understand goals and objectives. You help us to understand the determination that if we are really stepping our feet into something, it's you have to have that determination. You have to be open-minded. You got to pivot when changes come. You got to understand you have to change. Sometimes, as I said in the opening, you may start on one road, but you got to make that turn, that bend.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes you're asking the why am I making this bend? But it will make sense to you down the road why you had to make that turn. So just stay strong in whatever you believe in, whatever you're aspiring to do. Just believe in yourself. Don't make anyone doubt your dream, because your dream is your dream. You know why, and you're burning in your heart why you want to do it. So just believe in yourself and believe in who you are, and whatever you're aspiring for. Surround yourself with the right kind of people who's going to motivate you, who's going to lift you up, and who is going to cheer you on. So just know that you are good enough,
Yes.
and whatever you want to do, you can get up and start to do it. John?
Wow. Beverly, you have brought us into a space that we can finish 2024 strong and move into 2025 with confidence, clarity, insights, new perspectives, and understanding that if this is something you want to do, your why must be strong enough. You got to know if this is a risk you want to take and what it entails to gain that level of success. Knowing that sometimes you get setbacks,
Yeah.
but how do you bounce back? Knowing that you will encounter fear, understanding that there are challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but how do you move through all of that? How do you cut through all of that? You've helped us to understand, lean into your inner wisdom, focus on your inner being, walk with a level of obedience so you can move with a level of confidence and so that you can walk in your power, experiencing your true self, self awareness. Your mindset is important because you have to be able to shift and you have to have the level of open mindedness, not a fixed mindset, because fixed mindset means you close off, you're not opening to nothing new. But the way the age and the times we're living in, you got to move. Things are changing so quickly. So you got to have new skill sets and you have to be adaptable to new things so that you can enjoy all the fruits of life. Greatness is awaiting you and things that are not serving you well. You listen to
Very
us
good.
tonight, things that are not serving you well. You come through 2024, you're at this junction, and what is not serving you well, unload, unpack, get a level of clarity, make clearance, declutter, move away the clutter so that you can have a sense of freeing. We talk about freedom. Have a sense of freeing so that you can walk feeling that, I'm strong enough now. I feel solid. I'm embracing my inner wisdom. I got a level of clarity, and so that I can move with great intentions. I move with intentionality so that I can turn the page. And when I turn the page, even if I look back, I'm looking back because I'm gathering all the information I've gained over the months, over the years. I'm gathering all of that, and that is going to help me to make better choices, make better decisions so that I can move forward. Not mean that I would not encounter challenges in the future, but I'm better positioned to handle it as I make my decision, as I move in a different direction. So, Beverly, you've served us well. You gave us a lot of tips and a lot of information tonight that we can carry it through with us and help us to make better choices, better decision. Thank you for making your candles. Thank you for serving us with those candles because we can't wait to get ours as well. Get some of those joy and some of those renew. So thank you so much. You've done us very well, and we're looking forward to have you give us part two. Okay?
Awesome. 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 Thank you, ladies, again for the invitation.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a
And to the
pleasure.
audience, we love
Yeah.
you too.
Yeah, and to the audience, we want to thank you so much for your beautiful comments. We want to thank you for showing up here and being a part of this space because
Yes.
we really appreciate you. Every time that we bring a podcast, either Soul, Light, and Body, or Enrichment of Mind, Body, and Soul, or the Reflective Speaker Series, we just want to thank you for showing up and supporting us because we appreciate you and thank you. And
Yeah.
don't forget to subscribe to Soul, Light, and Body that you will never miss none of these episodes. Every week, we will bring a guest on to enrich you, the audience, and to give you hope and optimism. So continue to join us and share us out to someone who you think can benefit from this podcast.
I want to drop something in. And please don't forget to go and support Beverly's buy those candles, good great Christmas gifts
Yes,
to
it's great
drop in.
Christmas gifts. Yes, yes.
Connect today.
The link is in this in our comments. So just go click on the link and you can able to purchase that candle. Purchase that candle and send it for someone. Surprise them. Give them
Yeah.
a surprise gift as a candle.
Mhm.
Yes, do it.
Why not? It's coming with
Exactly.
good energy.
Exactly. The good energy. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Beverly.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, ladies. Thanks.
Wow. It's
Thank you
beautiful.
and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks.